Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Hawkeye Two Feathers, also known as David Null, and I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray for each and every one of you, your friends, your family, your relatives, and all of your relations, that you will continue to accept and receive the healings, the knowledge, and the wisdom of the universe. Now, with that said, this particular um, topic for this video is kind of sort of appropriate. Um, there, um, I hate referring to another video, but I have to do this in this particular instance. And of course, somebody wants to call right now, as soon as I start. Yeah, but it's just some kind of nonsense, as always. I very seldom get a phone call from anybody that I know. But anyway, sorry for that. I wish to make an apology right here at 1 minute and 10 seconds into this video. A previous video I did, I'm not going to mention any names or reference their site or any, not because, I don't, in respect, that was that chat room, that was on that video, and this is this video. Now I'm referring to that because I realized later on this person, I don't know if it's female or not, or male, it has nothing to do with the person. And if that person watches this video, I promise you I was not picking on you. From my heart, I wasn't picking on you. I was picking on the topic and the subject and how you were writing. If you took it personal, that's that. But I tried to make it perfectly clear during the video that I was remarking to what the person wrote, not to the person, because that was part of the whole getting involved with what was going on in the chat. So I've been thinking on this, and if you look through the videos that I've done in the past, I have spoken about speaking in the positive and how important it is for us to speak in the positive. And that people keep calling me crazy, and it's okay. That's all right. But there are folks who don't understand. And I used to be one of them, so that's the reason for this title. I'm speaking from experience. Now, from here on out, if anybody thinks, well, he's talking about me, I will say if I'm talking about you. I'm talking about me and my behavior over the course of the internet, over the course of hanging out in chat rooms, live streams. I'm talking about me now, okay? So if anybody says, well, he was picking on this, no, I'm not. I'm picking on me. Now, with that said, it does refer to recent events. That's drawing the line right here, so pay attention. At 3:35 in, I'm stating this story is mine. So I'm picking on me. Now, I refer to snarky behavior. Listen, I grew up in a Catholic school, and I've been snarky since I was 8 years old. Snarky and sarcastic remarks and tossing out one-liners. I've had my face slapped, hands beat with rulers at the Catholic school. The nuns are like, "Would you just shut up?" And I literally, I've had trouble all my life keeping my big mouth shut. Something had just spurred out. So I've been snarky, not arrogant, but just a snide remark, a little bit of sarcasm, a little, for a long time. In my spiritual journey, in my understanding of everything, and I've done videos about this previously where I've talked about, as an engineer, how do I get people to interact with me when I kept finding that for some reason they found people that I was trying to help working on their machines or equipment or whatever, somehow we weren't, the vibe wasn't there. And I realized it had to do with my speech. It had to do with how I spoke to these people. And I really wasn't speaking badly, except that I was speaking more in the negative than in the positive. So I'd go out there and go, oh, so your machine's down. What'd you do wrong? Well, that's speaking in the negative. I'd go out to the machine and go, I've heard you've had problems. Can you tell me why you went down? Not that I blamed him. Do you have a tooling issue? Other people would go out there and blame the operator or blame were you running the machine too fast again? No, I realized that if I changed what I said and how I said it, I got much more response from the people. And I had over 700 people that I interacted with between two separate plants. I had to do all the drawings. It was my job. And so I had to go out on the machines and I had to interact with these people. And if I had some kind of snarky ass remark, then those people wouldn't interact with me. When I wanted them to, here, I'd really like for you to try to do it this way with this machine. Follow this process like this, please. Well, I don't know. Who are you to tell me? Well, actually, I'm the engineer. I designed this. I've been to the people who built the machine. We have walked through this, but instead of going out there and go out there and I want you to do it this way because I told you so. That's just like, duh. So I had to, this has been a long time learning process. So in speech with other people, now I've discussed it. You can look up Thomasville on Stage and Company in Thomasville, Georgia. I directed many shows. I wrote a play called Scrooge that we did 2 years running at the Thomasville on Stage and Company. Had 31 actors, actresses, and all the people backstage. We coordinated all this, and I didn't have an enemy at the end of it. I made a lot of friends, actually, because of my behavior and how I spoke positively to my actors and producers and anybody who helped with me. And I realized that any kind of snarky remarks were just, I might as well just take a nail gun and shoot myself in the foot. It hurts, by the way. So in writing and comments and people who interact in chat rooms, and I've had this discussion with other people in private chats and hangouts and things and messages over many years, okay? And we all agreed that there were things, we wanted to get our point across, but it was, we'd always tag things like, don't you get it? Or, what, are you brain dead? Or my ending was like, well, duh. Like, you're supposed to know this. Well, that's a snarky remark. Well, but the whole point is, whatever I said in the sentence before the well, duh, the person, because I now read these types of things and I go, oh, crap. I used to be that person. And when I try to bring it out of other people, say, listen, you've got a very valid remark, but do you have to tag your remark with something supercilious or some kind of something that's inane? And people were calling me a troll. And I was like, well, why are you calling me a troll? And then I realized I was being snarky. Best way I can explain it. Gotta tag it. Well, duh, don't you get it? Or, well, get a grip with yourself. Or, get a life. You don't know what you're talking about. I was talking about the ghost one time that literally woke me up. He physically manifested himself, woke me up, and got us out of a burning house. And people say, well, ghosts don't exist. Excuse me, a little bit of coffee. And there were people, that's just a BS story. Listen, me, my wife at the time, and my adopted daughter at that time, we got out alive with only barely what we had on. That was it. And if it hadn't been, whether it was my imagination, whether it was a dream, somebody was moving my foot, which woke me up. So I'm speaking about a true experience to me. Whole house burned down, an old, wonderful house. I've talked about it many times. I've talked about the times I used to sit on the front porch and I'd be smoking a cigarette, drinking a beer, toking on a joint, and the rocking chair over there would be rocking right along with me on the front porch. The reason people they couldn't rent the house to anybody else was because people reported it was haunted. I got along with the old gentleman who lived there and he saved our lives. Oh, but I'm a liar. I'm alive because of the ghost. are all ghost evil. No, the spirits and things come and manifest in different ways. But to the point back then, all these people being snarky. Oh, well, you just must have been high, or something else happened, or this, that, and the other thing. No, I told you exactly what happened in the order that it happened. And I'm sorry, but there are people who can corroborate the story, although they're getting older. But yes, they remember the house burning down. There are reports in the newspapers when the house burned down. They could see it for 20 miles away because it was up on a hill, and it was a huge old house and fat lighter. My point to this, though, is that in the comments about me telling the story about it, the true story of what happened, not some kind of fantasy thing, snarky behavior in the comment section. And I'm like, well, listen, you don't really have to believe. Well, anybody can believe anything if they're blah blah blah, and you're just an old hippie and blah 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 blah. Well, that may be true, but my memory of who woke me up that night to get us out of a burning house, that was very real and very honest and so forth. So, but am I trying to convince you to believe me? I'm telling my story. It's up to you whether or not it resonates with you. But for people to be snarky, if you don't believe the story, then okay, I that's fine. But then when people say, "Well, I don't believe you're just some whacked out hippie," but telling me you didn't believe me, that's fine. But calling me a whacked out hippie, was there any need for that? No. That's your own opinion, and you think I'm a whacked out hippie. Okay, fine. But what's that got to do with the story? That you got to call me a whacked out hippie? Oh, well, I talk about meditating with trees. Oh, you're just a tree hugging hippie. I admit that. But the honest thing is that many other people have started talking about meditating with trees. I've been talking about meditating with trees since the mid 1970s and later. So this is not this ain't my first merry-go-round kind of thing. And I grew up on a carnival, and I ran a merry-go-round, so I know this ain't my first merry-go-round. Okay. So to those folks who so this video isn't about anybody else, but it is about my snarky behavior in the past. So when I started realizing I wouldn't speak the words that I have typed in a chat room. There are things that I've typed in a chat room. I've literally gone back and go, who wrote that shit? Delete. Edit. When all I wanted to say was, I disagree with you, and for my own personal reasons. Because when I looked at a paragraph of stuff I wrote in the comment section of somebody else's video, blah, 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 blah. And then I went back and thought, oh my God, that's horrible. I would have never said that to the person, but I wrote it. Oh shit. What am I doing? So all of my belief of all of these years, and now it's 2019, and I've been directing plays since, I don't know, the mid 80s, somewhere in there. And I've done several. And then after 2005, I did 4 or 5 shows in a row. They hired me as the technical director for Thomasville on Stage for about 2 years. So, I'm not speaking out my butt. I've got documentation to prove that what I used to do. And but in order to be effective, I had to change my own behavior. I had to quit being a snarky a-hole. And I didn't even realize I was being snarky until Spirit come down and slapped me upside the head and said, "You want to make a change, right, Dave?" Well, yeah. You want Hawkeye's voice to come out of you. You don't really want Dave's voice. Now, Hawkeye is my Native American name that was officially given to me during a ceremony and in a sweat lodge by a medicine man. Okay, but I use Hawkeye in that Hawkeye is still David, but David's ain't quite as spiritual as Hawkeye is. So Hawkeye is still me, but more spirit walking. Now, Dave was pretty good at it. And I know I'm talking about myself in two different realms. But when I became Hawkeye, I realized my snarkiness. I started looking at other things because now, with my shaman name, if you will, versus my Christian name, I'm like, I'm connected here, and Spirit's going, do you see what you're doing over here? You're saying you want to be positive, that you want to be a positive force in the universe, but you were just a snarky a-hole. You wrote it down and off it went. And I mean, there was a period of time where I refused to make a comment of any kind, good, bad, or indifferent. I was afraid my fingers were going to get away from me. And I was like, but now at the same time, I was on a lot of medication that I am no longer on. All kinds of mind altering crap from the doctor, you know, due to my narcolepsy and epileptic seizures and so forth. I don't take any of that anymore. And so I am much more clear headed. But back then, when I literally didn't have full control of my own brain thoughts, they were chemically induced, and I reacted, you know, differently because of the chemicals in my brain. Not an excuse, but it's the truth. And I had to get out of all of that so I could speak clearly. If somebody says, well, you must be on something. Well, I smoked a cigarette a little bit ago and I took a hit off my bowl. Okay, am I on anything? I'm on life. I'm on the energy of the universe. So I can talk about myself, obviously, but I can go back in my own behavior and say, I needed to stop being whatever it was I was being, a snarky a-hole. Now, again, I want to reiterate, when I, at 1 minute and whatever, or 3 minutes, whatever, I said, here's the line, I'm talking about myself. And if anybody's listening to this thinking I'm trying to call somebody else this, I'm not. It's your own imagination, because I gave that up 3 minutes into this video at 17:20 now. So this is about me and my behavior. But other people, we discussed it amongst ourselves. And we were talking about, well, I want to be a positive effect in this. Yeah, well, I wrote this and somebody called me a troll. So I went back in, and other people did the same thing. This 3 or 4 people that we discussed, and this has been several years ago. And I have done speeches, videos about speaking in the positive, because as soon as I realized I was writing in the negative, but trying to speak in the positive, well, like, wait a minute, there were 2 separations, and it shouldn't be. So one of the things I do now, if I'm going to write something down, I read it aloud. And then the next thing I say is, would I say this to a person to their face? I mean, you know, would that person who claimed, well, you know, you're an old tree hugging hippie, you know, you're some freaked out, whacked out hippie, would he have said that to my face if we were standing close together? Or would he have left that part of his paragraph in the chat room or his comments out? And I'm saying probably most of the times people, when they wouldn't have said, well, because I think you're a whacked out hippie. They would have kept that thought to themselves. But in writing, it just flows. So I made a rule for myself. Read it out loud. Read what I type out loud. Now, if it's just a little bit of this or something, but in my head, I see a paragraph and I pick a sentence out and go, I'm going to just type this, because really, this is really what I want to say. And no snarkiness. No, you know, got to keep the snark out of it, whether it's intention, whether it's in fun or whatever. Now, there are people I can be snarky with, and they know my behavior, and I'm just teasing and palling around, and we're making little remarks. But no. When you write it down, that may have been my ha ha ha, duh, get it? They went, oh my God, he thinks I'm Homer Simpson and I'm a duh, and I don't understand anything. Well, you must be a snarky asshole troll then. That's not what my intent was, but I wrote it. And if I go back and look at it from somebody else's point of view, oh crap, I was a snarky troll. Oh shit, not my intention. So anything I said before the snarky troll comments, um, people just dismissed. Well, he don't have his opinion doesn't count because he added this little tag. In the radio business, we call it a tag. But they still use the term tag in wow, odd things floating around in here today. Extra or other dimensional. But anyway, just so with that said though, but I want folks to understand, if you type something in a chat room or you're experiencing something over here, before you hit that return button, read it out loud, because maybe you wouldn't say that exactly if you spoke it. Now, trust me, I'm not criticizing anyone. This is an exercise in how do we fix this problem. This is an exercise in there's another way that we can do this. And one of the things is, from my long-term experience on the internet, I go back to the Amigas and the Commodore 64, so don't even tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Snarky behavior needs to stop. If you're a couple of folks grooving and chatting between yourself, fine. But if you're in somebody else's video or live stream or chat room or something, and you decide to be snarky, then you deserve to be called a troll. I'm sorry, because that's the type of behavior trolls use. Now, if you're not a troll, then leave off those snarky remarks. And I firmly believe that some of the stuff the other night, now I am speaking in general terms of my previous video. Understand it, 22 minutes and 10 seconds. I'm referring to this other video for a moment. I was trying to point out that the snarky, I considered snarky, was why people made the comment about the troll. End of that previous video. In my experience and other people's in trying to change the way things are spoke, written, talked about on the internet, if we write more positively and leave out these snarky remarks, we're going to get, I have received a much better response. Now, there are times when I go off on my little tangent, but I go off on a tangent on purpose. It's like to get you to think. But for me to pick on somebody is not my intention at all, for any reason, whether they've called me whatever, I don't care. Because if I go back into it and try to, well, you didn't understand what I meant, or it never works out. So in so many ways, and I've talked about this before, I can accept or reject what someone brings in or tries to put upon me. So part of this video is in response to that, but not to the person directly, because I meant no harm to the person. But I am speaking about the snarky behavior of a lot of people on the internet. And if this person didn't understand, maybe it was snarky. It was only what was written that I was discussing. We need to take a look, all of us. Now I'm off of that subject. I'm back to me again. There are a lot of people who have realized this, because I've been I troll around, but I don't put anything in the comments or in the live stream. I just watch what other people say. And I've spoke about this before in other videos. I've seen a marked difference in how people respond and what they say in the chat, in the live stream chat. And I'm going to read your stuff in a minute, but if you've been on my channel, I can't read right now. It'll take me off my subject matter. But I want folks to know we have the means to change it. And that's by altering our behavior. The person had a very good, valid point, but the snarky remark was not. Period. Not about the person. It's about we get used to, we can go ahead and add what we want because we're not standing in front of the person. I wouldn't have. I personally would not have made the many snarky remarks in my chats and conversations with people in the past. Trust me, I'm like, oh my God. Oh, if I could, there were some I wished I knew what channel it was so I could go back and erase it. I mean, I left words out there that, oh crap, I really didn't mean, and it was mistaken by many people. And the more I tried to correct it, the worse it got. And, 10 people are like arguing amongst, and it was all about words. They didn't see my face, didn't hear my intention, and therefore they mistook the words I kept trying over multiple tries of explaining what I meant by what I said. No comments, no matter how I wrote it, got through to them. And I just realized, oh, holy crap, this is a horrible loop here. And it's yanking energy from me. It's absolutely the opposite of what I wish to portray. I'm trying to be a positive force in the universe. So here are these people with me, quote, trying to speak positively, thinking I'm some freaking troll butthole, and my point is not being heard at all. I'm just a whacked out hippie. Oh crap. That's not my intention. I mean, that's not my intention. I mean, in life, whether before the internet, that has never been my intention. So how did I get yanked into this? Well, watching other people's behavior, because I'm typing it out there and I'm not speaking to an individual. Because as soon as, Hawkeye came out and said, Dave, do you know what you've been doing? Well, Hawkeye, no, I don't. You have been a bad boy. Me? Yes, you. But I was just being a snarky a-hole. Oh, crap. That's doing internal work. People, I mean, I didn't see it. I'm typing it and thinking it, but I couldn't see it. And now I look back on it and go, oh, it was so freaking obvious. And no wonder people were calling me a whacked out hippie and a troll. I get it now. It was my behavior. And it wasn't my intent, but it got misconstrued. Now, I'm very observant of things. When I was growing up on the carnival, there are a lot of times people get on the ride, they get off the ride. In between and before and after, what do? You watch the crowd. So I've been watching people since I was 11 years old on the carnival and running the little train ride and so forth, and selling tickets and working the cotton candy machine and selling popcorn. I've been watching people, because when you're bored that's what you do, is you watch people and watch behavior. And so I've been watching similarities for the last 55 years at least. Okay. So this is not like a new observation, but if you spoke to a customer who come up that was a little drunk, you couldn't argue with them. Come in, mister, give me all my popcorn. Yeah, okay. You want a box or a cone? I don't care. So you give them a cone. They go, I wanted the box. I told you I wanted the box. You don't argue. You go, yes, sir, because the box is more expensive, and you really want to sell the box. But should have thought about that, because he's drunk. If he's drunk and having trouble, so if you give him a cone of popcorn, he's going to spill it, and all of his friends are going to want to get their hands on it. So he's thought about this, but after he spoke it to me. So I'm like, yes, sir. Argue with them? Oh, no. Don't argue with a drunk. Never, So it's like, yes, sir. Back you go. Put the thing, get another one. And my mother, she would argue with them. Now, you told me you wanted a cone, when it was so much simpler just to turn her ass around and exchange it and go, thank you. Instead of 50 cents, it's now $1. You just made another 35 cents off this guy. Shh, be quiet. But she would argue, you told me you wanted a cone. And it's like, no. So I've been watching this behavior for a long time. A very good friend of mine, about 2 years ago now, stopped by. He went to school in Georgia. It's Carrollton, Georgia, and his group was the first to graduate under this new um, master's or bachelor's degree or whatever it was in speaking in the positive. That was 30 years ago. Okay. So I've known about this subject and known the effect of it. So I want to bring this to everyone's attention. If you're writing something and you just saying, if you think you got to add a snarky remark that's going to help the situation, you're going to absolutely look like a troll, because that's what trolls do. Now, not to say that you are one, but it's a similar type of behavior. It's trollish. Now, was I a true troll like some of these other people trying to put in disinformation? I don't think so. But my behavior was very trollish. I mean, it looked like I had crawled out from underneath a bridge. Okay. Billy Goat's Gruff, the troll, anyway. Who dares to cross my bridge? I, Billy Goat Gruff. Anyway. But to the point, though, I realized, oh my God, my intent was not to be a troll, but man, I was wearing the costume of one, and it was because of my words. It was because of my syntax. Well, don't you understand? Well, don't say that. In changing words around, for example, it's always to like, if you use not, don't, shouldn't, anything like that, what you should do is try to rephrase what you say, but without. Now that's one of those words. It's without using some other type of terminology. It's not necessarily a negative word, but no, I don't want you to think like that. So I could have started this video and said, no, whoever thinks that I'm not, two negatives before I got very far, right there. No and not. And I haven't even stated my purpose, but the first words I came out with was a negative. So I would rather come out with, I was an internet snarky troll, which is the truth, and say, listen, my behavior was bad. Now, did I say anything in there about you shouldn't or no or anything? No, everything has been a positive statement. I am, I have, I was, but can change. And this is what I mean. And this is, so it's like, there are several YouTubers and I like them, but they speak in the negative. Somebody will ask them a question and right off it's no, you don't know, understand. And it's like, you need the folks, if you want to speak in the positive, if you're thinking maybe they're off on something, you should say, well, I'm not sure. So you put it on you. I'm not sure. And then it gives you a little bit of leeway, but these people just spout off. No, you're wrong. And well, you've got an opinion. And some of these crazy folk out there, I had some discussions recently physically with a person who came to visit me here. And I was realizing, I was like, it makes so much more of an impact when you're speaking to the person in a chair across the room versus chatting or messenger or something like that. And the emphasis was made more like, I can help you answer that if you'll at least listen and give me the chance. So did I tell this person, no, you're wrong? No. Now there's two no's in less than one sentence. But I said, I have another theory. I didn't say hers was wrong. I said, I have another theory. What about this? And it had to do with, and I've discussed the wobbly earth for a long time. She hadn't heard me discuss it. So I said, how about this theory? And versus, I think you're wrong about your theory. I kept it in the positive. So I didn't turn her off from my point of view. I allowed her to keep it and said, but what about this? And explained mine. well, do you think my idea is stupid? And I said, no, but that's why I wanted to tell you about this theory. You make up your mind. And I kind of feel this way, but one of the things as a shaman in training, that if you understand the universe, the first thing you should understand is that all things are possible. As far-fetched and outlandish as it may seem, somewhere in this universe, in other dimensions and other realities, just saying. So people go, oh, well, that's not possible. In their reality, it's not. It's okay if you wish to stay over there. See, did I say they're a bunch of dummies? The old me would have said these people are weirdos if they don't think some of these things are possible. And I try to stay away from that. See, I'm calling them names, I'm being negative. No, I say, okay, but these people, they can believe it if they want to. But now there is another reality. And my job is to try to explain all things are possible. All things in different wavelengths, forms, and things. Now, in trying to show where snarky attitudes or words are used is part of my job. But my job is not to offend anyone. If what I say offends someone because of I believe in reincarnation, I believe in positive speech, I believe in hope, I believe in love, compassion, kindness, I believe in the Creator, I've been called a heretic, I'm fine. But if these folks who wish to criticize others so pointedly, are they on a spiritual quest themselves, or are they just out kind of fanciful? Are they window shopping? Are they window shopping for spirituality? Because the Bible doesn't seem to be doing it anymore. If you've looked at any of my videos, my point on the Bible, a lot of truth in there, but a lot of obfuscation too. The people who won the war got to write the book. Just saying. But that there is more to all of it than what meets our eye. And for those of the Silent 72 and the Dante video, that's part of, I'm going to do another video entirely about the truth. It may be later on this evening. But I want to keep this topic on positive writing, positive speaking, because there are a lot of people out there who are bitching about what's going on, but very few people are trying to offer a solution. The first solution is, and go back to I know I'm referring to some of my older videos, to at least look at the title. I've been talking about this. And what I want to try to explain to people, we are the motive behind this. It's up to us to change our behavior. I was a snarky a-hole troll. I admit it, but now I'm changed. We just need to change. Let's state what we wish, but leave the other craziness out of it. It's unbelievable how that much right there will change people's opinions, frequencies. It's going to help a lot just by moderating, but make your point across, but keep it out of the snarkiness. It's not necessary. Now, and speaking in the positive, if you start, and I use this expression, and I'll give it again here as an example. 8-year-old kid's going to go 3 blocks to the store, going to ride his bicycle on the sidewalk. So mama says as he's going out the door, don't forget your helmet. Don't run across the street. Be careful. That's the kid's going to go, don't. The first word out of mama's mouth is don't. Don't forget your helmet. So you hear don't forget, but then helmet is forgotten because it's a don't. It's like don't get your helmet. And it's like, what? And don't cross the street, don't run don't. when, if we speak in the positive, we say, remember to wear your helmet. Remember to stop at the street, rather than don't stop. No, rephrase it. We need to tell people what we want, not what we don't want. That's speaking in the positive. And if you stop and listen to how people speak, write, you'll understand it's an underlying problem that they have literally been studying for years. And the main reason I continue to speak about it, and I try my best to speak in a positive way rather than being negative. Now, what I could have said was without, or don't do as I've done. See, I put a don't in there, and not to this and that. No, I rephrased it in such a way in that you understand that I want to fix this. I wish to help people to understand that we have learned an adverse way of speaking to one another. If we can change it to a positive way of speaking, because many of us, our intentions are pure, but somehow it gets mixed up in the translation. And we fix it because we understand, oh crap, there's a way I can say what I mean, but it will be more effective. See, a way I can explain to be more, well, I don't want to be negative, and so I don't want to speak in the negative, so I don't want to use these kinds of words. I don't want to piss people. I'm doing this on purpose, but you hear people speak this way. Well, I don't want people to understand that I'm some kind of negative Nelly, but I don't want people to think that I don't negative. I don't. I say it differently. I wish people to understand that I would rather not speak in the negative. See, I changed don't or something to rather not. I would rather not. People think that way. All we have to do is just change a little bit on how we let things come out of our bodies. Oh, well, that's impossible. Is it? It's not. You know, I gave a question. It's not. I could have said, no, you people who think that way are wrong. That's a negative statement. I would rather think, and I do speak, in that if people will try to speak in the positive, they will find out that these negativisms that somehow kind of follow them around or whatever ain't as bad. It's a creepy feeling, but it works. And I've talked to other people over the years. I mean, there is a college degree that you can get for teaching people how to speak in the positive. So, and like I say, I've been friends with this gentleman for longer than 30 years. I mean, but anyway, so I understand it on a level, and it goes back to Edgar Cayce. That name dropper there. How we speak and how we phrase things along with our intention changes the whole modus operandi, if you will, the whole frequency of things. And everything is about frequency. Is this a new idea about frequency? No. In the shaman world, this has been going on forever. People now with science all around are now, I mean, things that I knew in the late 60s and 70s, scientists are proving. Okay, spiderweb universe, this, and that, blah, 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 blah. I was talking about orbs and ghosts and things back as a kid. Now I've got pictures of orbs and things and the fairy realms and so forth. Oh, well, you know, I photoshopped that. Oh, get off it. I'm sorry, but I don't have the time to Photoshop something, and this computer won't let me do it. So, but to the point though, other people will show the same thing and go, well, that can't be true. Well, in your reality, it's not. Now, did I use a negative in there? No, I said in your reality, it's not true. I didn't say, well, you're wrong because you don't see it and you're too stupid to look at it. And of course, ghosts are real. And of course, other dimensions exist. And no, I would rather invite you in with a positive section going, you know, there are many possibilities in this universe. Okay. And there are many things that people have taken as myths or legends are now becoming scientifically factual. What? So see, I've led in. My intention is rather than call somebody dumb because they don't understand it, I try to lead in with a positive and a something to like, well, wait a minute here. Um, Now instead of pissing them off, I've got their attention. They're willing to listen to the next sentence. You know what I mean? So we need to just stop. One of the things that I had to learn way back when was keep your mouth shut. Me. No, nothing comes out until you think about it. And if you start to utter something, go, well, let me think about this a second. And stop. If, rather than putting my big size 10-foot in my mouth with dirt on it, I'm going to shut my big fat trap and go, wait a minute, let my brain catch up with whatever was fixing to flow out. And sometimes it was like, oh crap, it was going to sound bad because I was speaking in the negative. Let me rephrase this before it ever gets past my tongue. This is what I want versus what I was going to scream out in some kind of abject a-hole trolling, So I think we can make a difference. I know we're making a difference. But rather than beat each other up about stuff, or, for example, I was one of these type of people. And I've seen the behavior of other folks recently. I'm not referring to anything. If somebody's trying to make it about themselves, trust me, I'm referring to many other things than just my channel or interactions here. But that it's important that in trying to relay a positive message, whoever's on the other end, if they're not going to listen, and I had to use not there, if they're not going to pay attention, if they're not going to listen at all, if they've just, their box is such that this subject is out of their, then regardless of my intent, regardless of my purpose and positive words, it ain't going to work. And I have to listen to my higher self and go, wait, I don't have to have the last word. Even though I may be right about this subject, meaning that this person has misunderstood what I have been trying to explain. But regardless of what I say, do, or whatever, the person's still going to think I'm picking on them. Not recently remote. I'm thinking of another 2-year incident. So whoever you may be thinking about this, sorry, it ain't you. But 2 years ago, I remember this little incident, and it bugged me because I was like, no matter what I tried to do, they just, nope, I'm sorry, I was the a-hole troll. And that was back when I was changing my, I realized back then that I needed to speak in the positive more. But I realized I'd said too much. Sometimes you can just say too much and it confuses what you're trying to say. Sometimes you should just stick to one sentence. And I don't mean a compound run-on sentence that's four lines long. I mean one sentence, one complete sentence. Pick what you really want to do. I want this person to understand there may be another dimension. There may be another reality. So instead of a bunch of, well, I saw a ghost and this, you just make a statement. I believe in other realities because of my lifelong experience. Well, okay, so where are they going to argue with that? They can't pick a fight with you. It's a positive statement. You said what you want, but it's one sentence. They can try to pick it apart. Well, your life, you're this. There's nothing they can hammer on. But if I was to write another 2 or 3 sentences, then there's all kinds of stuff this other person on the other end seems to have this, I got to have the last word. Be comfortable with making a statement that they can't beat you up on. It's, well, you can't, well, wait a minute. Holy crap. It's a statement. It's true. And it means what you want. How about that? You didn't call the other person out. You just say, in my belief, in my universe, I believe in other realities. You don't even mention them. So everything is subjective. But if they want to pick a fight, then they're picking a fight with themselves. So there you go. And anybody else who would watch it or read it behind them would go, you see, the argument stopped right there. But this other person or people or whoever, and I mean, I'm thinking about this 2 years ago thing, folks were just like, and I would go like, really? I would just post the word really, and just to keep in line, I would put in a remark like, are you sure? To somebody's remark, versus saying, you're an idiot or you're dumb or writing. I would just put a couple of words. Are you sure? Are you positive? What do you mean, are you positive? Oh my God, that would start, are you positive about somebody else's remark? They would go off on me like, and I was like, I wrote through, are you positive? 3 words. And it would get a paragraph of diatribe on my part because they were trying to understand what maybe I was thinking. All I put out there was, are you sure? Are you positive? I mean, and people, give a bass enough line and he'll snag himself kind of deal, give them enough rope and they'll hang themselves. So in times like these, I wish no harm on anyone. I honestly, sincerely don't. But I have to say that behavior right there maybe was a little out of range. Maybe your speech pattern could be changed so that you will actually get your point across without sounding, I didn't say being, I said sounding like a snarky troll, as I used to be. I get it. I see it. And now that I'm aware of it, I try my best to stay away from that and not include myself in that type of behavior because it's simply not necessary. And speaking in the positive is so much more rewarding, and there's so much more that comes back from it. So it's proven itself to me over and over and over again. And all I can tell y'all is try it. If you want to make mockery, and it's okay. I didn't think I could really make that much of a change myself until I practiced it. I became it. And I understood that, oh my God, and there's power in it. Because when people aren't offended by you and you speak in a positive way, they're much more relaxed. Telling you. So I love you all, I do. Enough of my diatribe this, but again, I'm not picking. If I'm picking on anyone, it's myself. Shame on me for my previous behavior, and I mean it. Please, I'm asking for forgiveness. It's out there in the quantum, and if I could find it all, I would. But Pamela, good to see you. Azalel, as Dante said, there are many aspects. Yeah, disinformation in order for most of the public to be and stay ignorant from the humanity truth. Thank you. I agree. And there's a lot of things, and I'll say this now because you brought it up and I can, okay? Pamela, I know you try to stay away from any negative speech, and you've been learning along with me because we've been hanging out for a while now, but you're the only one at work that speaks English. All the Latinos have me teaching them English. Well, teach them in the positive. Yes, zay's low. Yes, zay low. My missing teeth, it's hard for me to pronounce words. It's really difficult. And I used to teach speech, and, so I'm trying to get over my own impediment. But thank you. I appreciate you spelling that out. I do. Let's see. E. Fraz, if they're there, thank you so much. Applying one of the power. Izalon. Williams, applying one of the most powerful universal laws that is the laws of attractions by being positive, like being the greatest version of ourselves on a daily basis. I absolutely wholeheartedly agree with you, Williams. I'm gonna have to practice how you wrote it out there. I think snarky people are people living in 3D with a sort of limited consciousness. Apparently, you have extended and applied your consciousness to be one with yourself and others and beyond. And that was, thank you, yes, Williams. And I say that with utter respect because I can't speak, I can't pronounce the end of it. But when I got christened with my Native American name, I'd already have walked a long way on the Native American road, powwows and so forth. But I took another step in my spiritualism. And it's hard for me to think, I think back and go, well, I thought I was doing pretty good. But then this other little thing hit. And I was like, oh, man. Oh, the positive talk and the change of, my own snarky behavior. And one of the things, we have to go within the darkness in ourselves to find the light. And I had to go in and I just realized that there were a lot of little things that, just kind of come out of me that really wasn't necessary. And it portrayed me as the wrong individual that I wanted to be. And maybe maybe it's a residual from another lifetime, which is, I think, is on my part, one of the reasons why I'm reincarnated here on this piece of property. For this reason is because I was a nasty a-hole in a previous life here on this property that I'm on now. It found me. I found out it's a long story, but it happened over many years, how I found this place, how I got it, and I'm here. And the spirits who still live here know it was me when I was here before. So just saying. But I came back because there is still a part of that old me that used to live here before that was this really nasty son of a bitch. And that is not who I wish to be. And so it's like, so in this reincarnation, it is my job to get rid of the snarky a-hole that I used to be. Oh, violent. Oh, kill. Oh, and for no reason. I mean, because I was a snarky a-hole. Not a whole lot more reason than that. Maybe not necessarily for a cause or anything. Let me see if we should have a peace circle and puff on some weed, singing a new world, us coming. Yeah, sweet pea. I do that all. I do that all the time, actually. Me, myself, and I, and anybody and any of the spirits around that want to join me. But yeah, yes. I have become what I decided to be, and I'm still working on it. When I talk about being a shaman, I always say I'm a shaman in training. And when I leave this 3D reality, I'm still going to be a shaman in training. If you understand the universe anywhere close to the way I do, in that it's all expansive. And if you think going through the pearly gates and into heaven is your idea of what it's like in the afterlife, I'm sorry. I'm 3 days in. I'm going to be bored as tears. And I'm sorry. I don't want to go to a gated community. I want to be a free agent in the universe, as it were. So there are people say, well, you don't want to go to heaven? What is heaven? Well, it's the pearly gates and it's clouds. Nope. Sorry. Don't want to go. Well, then you want to go to hell? No. But my idea of heaven is a lot different than y'all's is, and that's okay. We have to have a lot of times we have to have a reference point for things. And so it's like, if clouds and pearly gates gives you a reference point, okay. And I'm not going to try to dissuade you from that. But in my reality, I realized that maybe the pearly gates and the clouds were actually a trap, because I've been in prison before. And anything behind any kind of gates usually ain't so swift. It means you're going to be enclosed for some kind of prison. And I just, I'm sorry, but but if you understand the universe and that, and I mean, I say I understand it in its vastness and its potential, then my reality, heaven, is the entire universe, not a gated community. That's all. You can have your heaven and you can have the pearly gates. But my reality is that's just that heaven's just one reality in the great expanse of the universe. That's all. You can go to that heaven. I might go by and wave at you, but I'm I got other places I would like to go back to see, I think, or have never seen and would like to go. Not sure, but you know, but anyway, but thank you all, Pamela. It's good to see you're still around. And yes, Zaylo, namaste to you. Do you think the fairies returning had anything to do with your positive mental attitude? Yes. It's not that they returned, they were always there. I didn't see them. And so but yes, it's a sort of a combination thing, Pamela, in the fairy realm. I believe they were there, but there was this like fog of unbelief that I still had to work out with myself. You've heard me talk about what's happened in my life. Well, I used to believe things at least 95, 98%, but I was still like a little tiny bit unsure. But you have to believe 100.1%. It's got to be one drop more than 100%. Not a lot, but you gotta be, when you say have faith in the 100% belief, it's gotta, you gotta pour something on it to make sure you mean it 100%. And when I said I believed it 100% just a couple of years ago, and some things is like the last year, kind of sort of in not having anything to do with fairies, but other things anyway. But to the point though, is that I had to believe 100%. Otherwise, there's still a veil. Well, I think I saw it. Well, did you? Yes or no? Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, maybe I didn't. So you start making up the excuses that it wasn't. So, but when you believe it's possible 100%, then what you go and you say, that could have been a fairy. Now you say, well, did you see a fairy? Before you go, I don't know what that was. Was that a fairy? What? There's all these questions. Now I look at them and I go, that could have been a fairy. And if it is, then I'll get sort of a confirmation, or there'll be some other kind of feeling or vibe or something in the area, but like taking pictures of the orbs. I knew where there were certain places that there weren't any orbs, but I took pictures anyway. In my last Ochlockonee River pictures of orbs on my YouTube, I think I need to do a video of orbs from the two separate rivers and just kind of sort of do an update. And I realized I got some little short clips of the Ochlockonee River I can share with y'all too. But with that said, I think it's a combination of my 100% belief, which has pulled that little, it's almost like trying to look through saran wrap. You hold up a piece of plastic, plastic you cover your garden with or something, it's opaque and you can kind of see shadows through it and light comes through it, but it's not really clear. And you can get some cling wrap that you can see through, but it's still a little. So it's sort of like for every layer that I have worked on personally and spiritually, it's almost like they took another layer of cling wrap off of my eyes, or off of my third eye, actually, to be quite honest. Not that I'm not trying to be honest with you, but I mean, I realize it's the fog over my third eye. So, and the other thing is the empathy or the feeling that when you do see something fairy wise or orbish or whatever, you go, you ask the question, you know, I know because I am more of a positive person, even though I've always been more positive than negative, but if you're trying to become a more positive person, you realize, oh crap, I still got a trailer load of negative behind me. I got to get rid of this mess, and I don't carry it forward, you know. Hi, Cherry. I see you came on, and Sunny, blessings to you. I think you were on yesterday morning, but anyway, blessings. It's good to see you all. I mean it from my heart. But but in believing, it's like you got to believe in yourself. Well, do can I believe what I'm actually seeing? I've talked about the spaceships that I watched one and then another one appeared and shot the other one out of the sky years ago. People go, yeah, sure, Dave. No, I don't have any pictures of it, but son of a, I seen it, you know, and it's like I stood out in the yard for a half an hour going, and they asked me to go out to watch one ship get blowed up by the other one. That's really kind of strange. So, and similar things like that have happened to me. Now, can I say I'm related to ET? Well, at the age of about 8 or 9, I had an attachment to the Pleiades cluster that I just simply can't explain. Now, I'm not claiming I'm Pleiadian. I have Pleiadian tendencies. That's as far as I'm going to go with it. Are my relatives from there? It feels like it. That's all I know. That's all I'm going, because anything else is just subjugation or maybe wishful thinking on my part. I can't do that. You show me, I see, I hear, I understand. Like when I went on the lake a couple of weeks ago and I got sucked up out of that kayak and into the universe. Whoa, that was a strange experience. And I came home and talked about it right away. So it was fresh in my mind. But you know, can I say that those were my space buddies that took me out there? Did they come and take something happened? As a shaman in training, I look at these things and go, did my spirit guide come and take me up? Did the spirit guides that I've talked about before, did they come by and it's just simply a spiritual thing? Or did quote aliens come and suck my reality up and show me these things? I don't know. But it was good. And all the positiveness, I mean, to feel the positive thing they showed me when they took me out of that kayak and how they got me back in there without me falling out, I still don't know. But anyway, it's my own humor. You know, a fish jumps in my kayak in the middle of the night on the river when I'm trying to speak to the, creator. Now, is that an answer? A giant gar comes flying in my kayak. Pay attention. There's things in the universe. It was an answer to me. So, and a very strong one. There's shit can come out of the dark at you at any time. Be prepared. That's the best answer. Be prepared for things, spiritually, vibrationally. So the more that I am a positive being and the more that I realize, oh crap, that was a negative, or, that might have negative tendencies. Do I really want that attachment? No. No. How do I fix this? Now there's an old adage that, and I kind of go along with this. If something negative comes out of your mouth, if I hear it, something that I've said, and I go, wait, I retract that. Hang on, whoa, stop. You can keep it out of the general population, if you will, of the quantum realm. But if you speak it and then later on, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Well, but if you don't try to retract your statement, there are sometimes, and less now than it used to be. I was all the time going, wait a minute, hang on. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase this. Wait, let me rephrase this. I would rather say, excuse me, let me rephrase this than to say something idiotic, dumb, and look like a butthole. You know what I mean? So with that said, but with the fairies, with the other realms, with the other dimensions, I mean, earlier, there was just something in here and I can't really see it, but I can feel it. And it was like kind of flying around. And in a couple of my live stream videos, an orb appeared and flew all around the screen and went off. So they're around me all the time. the more that I've always accepted that there was a spirit world. But for some reason, I hadn't really put orbs in that category. Not that they aren't, but I just never drew the spirits, orbs, same, different. And the thing is they are similar, but not the same. There are ghosts that aren't orbs, and there are orbs that aren't ghosts, but they are all energy one way or the other. That's what that would, and they're more the same that way than any other minor discrepancy, if you will. From what I understand about orb beings, are that the orb keeps them from manifesting, but they can project something from their orb so that you could like see a ghost. It's more of like a phantom projection of their self from the orb. So the orb is almost like an iris, if you will, and they use it as a projector in our realms. So those of us who are tuned, and sometimes I see things, sometimes I don't. But I've had a lot of bonks on the head in my lifetime. I've had 25 serious head bangs. Other people are blessed and they can literally see these things. Now, I don't know necessarily if that's blessing or not, because the things I've seen, kind of wished I hadn't them. You know, just say it. Kind of wished. Okay, can you let me know that your presence is there? Yeah, because they walk by. I used to have motion detector lights in my house. So I still do, but I just don't put batteries in them anymore because I know the spirits are always around. But I put these motion detectors in my house, one at the top of the stairs, like right up there kind of thing. Anyway, I'd be sitting here and the motion detector would go on upstairs. And the only way to turn it on is for somebody to be upstairs. I live by myself. So how in the hell did the motion detector come on? It's spirits. And I have seen these things come down my stairs. I'd be sitting here and I have a motion detector over there. And the purpose of it was when I had bad seizure, I could walk between the rooms at night and not have to worry about having a light on, because anywhere that I walked, the light would come on for me so I wouldn't stumble and fall and hurt myself as badly. And I realized the damn things were coming on when there wasn't anybody there. I checked batteries, I checked things, and then I started going, if there's anybody here, walk past that motion detector. Within a few seconds, bling, the light had come on. I go, pleased to meet you, whoever you may be. If you're a good spirit, you're welcome. If you're a bad spirit but would like to change, you're welcome. If you're just a bad spirit here to create havoc, I'm going to ask you very kindly to leave. And just be that way about it. Now, to other people, they say, Hawkeye, you're a frickin' nut. Okay. But, when a motion detector goes off and there ain't nobody in your house, you gotta, and then, instead of being freaky, creepy, or whatever, I'm like, okay, so who are you then? Are you here on business, or are you just passing through? Did you come to bring me a message? If you really are a spirit, walk past the the motion detector again. Blink. Okay. Do I need an EMF meter or anything like that? No. But to the point though, I say for a long time, it was about a year after I got these things, I was kind of creeped out because they were going off all the time. And I was like, and then spiritually, of course, like I say, I was on a lot of medicine back then. And in order for me to see the realms the way they should be seen, I had to come off of all the medications that I was on. I had to just stop what I was doing and come off my medications. And then I could see outlines. I could see wisps of things in the kitchen or on the stairs or something like that. And I realized that the fact that I saw it, it was like, well, that's kind of creepy. Well, yeah, but then you automatically I was like automatically going into there's a ghost, when I really didn't want to I don't want to react that way. But until you get used to it, It's kind of how you react. It's like, oh shit, when the when that fish landed in my lap the other night. Oh shit, holy crap, holy gee, you know. But once I realized, oh, thank God it's only a fish. You know, we got this covered. Thank God it didn't fall out of the kayak. We got this covered. Within a minute and a half, I was more or less calmed down. Just trying to, you know, get my heart to not jump out of my chest and come up through my nose, but also that I didn't want to get speared by the gark because they can hurt you. But I was trying to get out of his way. I wasn't afraid of what happened. I was afraid of getting bit by the, you know, getting speared by the gark. Anyway, different kind of fear is my point. And so it changed from, you know, oh my God, there's a ghost. Oh my God, there's an orb. Oh my God, there's a gar coming out of the darkness. I'm like, but they're kind of sort of the same thing. Was that gar that jumped in the boat with me the other night, was that a manifestation of other things? Was there, I mean, you know, I'm 5'11", and I'm about, you know, about the same length either way. You know, my legs ain't longer than my body kind of thing. But anyway, but it's at least 16 inches that this fish had to jump out of the water and hit me in the chest. So it wasn't just a kind of, well, he just flopped into the boat, and it wasn't like that. So there are different things that, as a shaman in training, I look at these natural things, and these are the spirits bringing me messages. You know, in Native American stuff, if you see a fox or a possum or something, these are natural totems. And I've done videos about, you know, the different realms and things, and discussed, you know, the different totems of the different animals and what they mean. And, you know, there's some slight differences in different cultures, but to the point though. So it's like but all of this is the grand understanding of things. If I limit that this is impossible, or if I say that, you know, well, I don't know, in my realm, I had to go to the point. Well, I got long-winded on your question there, Pamela. I had to go through the idea, the subject matter that, if I limit my thoughts, I limit my potential. If I limit the universe, I limit what I can, my understanding of the universe. If I limit my thought process, then I can't have any more thoughts. How can I have new thoughts, better understandings well, I've learned all I can learn on the subject. That's all there is to it. You know, we can't learn no more now. You know that, don't you? If I have that kind of attitude, and I know people like that, maybe you do too, that guess what, folks? Wait a minute. People look at things and go, I just don't think we can get that done. I don't know if we can do it. Now, the small theater that I worked in, there were scene changes and things that I came up with simple ideas to allow quick scene changes on a really, the stage isn't very deep. It's almost 30 feet wide, but it was, you know, only 20 feet deep. And if you're got to have 3 feet for a hallway in back and then everything in front of it, you start limiting your stage. So I had to come up with innovative ways to do set changes without a lot of commotion, do them quickly, do them easily, without hurting actors, and, you know, just stuff. And I came up with some stuff because my answer to it was, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I bet you there's a solution. And other people were like, well, I don't know how the hell you're going to do it. I came up with this idea. We made these really thin theater flats, and I put them on hinges. That was one idea. And then I hung them from the ceiling and put them so that we could just move them back and forth. That was another idea. And then they were like, well, what the hell? And then they started building carousels and things. So for quick scene changes. And, you know, what? So they were looking at me and they go, but how did you come up with that idea? And I said, because people told me there was no way to do this. There were people said, there's no way you can do that. And I said, okay. And then so I sat down and looked at it, the problem, and I said, all right, now, y'all, I need some help with this. How do I make this happen? set changes and whatever. And I came up with all different kinds of things. And I had people from Tallahassee Little Theater come up and look at our stage and go, Dave, how'd you do that? I can't believe, how did you do that? And it's like, I went down there and built many sets for Tallahassee Little Theater back in the day. But to my point though, so I had folks coming up from FSU that were in college. I was trained for one of the plays that I was in by the master swordsman who teaches sword fighting at FSU. And he asked me, he said, he said, you're too good at this. Who taught you? Have you done this before? And I said, yeah, but it was a reincarnation. And he looked at me and he winked and he goes, yeah, me too. The master swordsman at FSU, we're talking about being reincarnated, medieval swordsman. Yeah, me too. And he winks at me and he was serious. I knew he was, because he realized I was too. Because natural, you get those swords are heavy, by the way. So you hold this thing up and you start swinging that sucker, there's an art to it. And some folks just didn't have it. I mean, they almost hurt themselves with the damn thing, but to the point though, I know that I am reincarnated because there are things that I've known, like sword fighting. I don't know how to do that, but I do. It's almost an instinct. I talked about a week or so ago about the fox in the hen house, or the fox in the yard, and I got several bows and arrows around here. I don't train as an archer. I hit this thing in the left rear, just like on the run, and I was like, I hit it. Oh my God! And it stuck. Oh my God! I'm not an archer, but there is when I allow myself to be who I am. Boom! I didn't even think about it. Aim, pulled the arrow back, hit my target. If I'd have stopped and thought about it, I would have hit the camper out there. So believing 100.1% that things can happen, that things could exist. As soon as we start putting any negatives in our head, now it's not to say, for example, there are negative beings out there. Yeah, we need to talk about them. Yeah, we need to let folks know they're out there. But there are some people, I gotta say, that all they do is obsess about the bad guys. Let's talk about how to change what the bad guys are doing. Well, how do people, some of the folks who got knocked off of YouTube for some of their speech and stuff, I've listened to them. Well, you don't go around threatening people, and in my opinion, some of these people ought to bomb them. No. Then they wonder why they got, their channel. Or some guy was sitting there holding the 9mm going, I believe in the right to bear arms. Sorry, you're asking for trouble. Now, can I discuss it? Yeah, but I'm not flashing stuff. I'm not trying to, I try to speak positively on subjects, and I try to stay out of the realm of picking on somebody. That's why I chose the title for this video. I am guilty of being a snarky a-hole troll. We can all fix this. Realize the universe is bigger. Realize there's more to this life. And there's many of us who discuss things in realms and reincarnation. I'm going to do a separate video on reincarnation and what I see coming with this interaction with computers. It is, and Dante has talked about this with iRobots and things like that. Our consciousness going into a robot? Really? Are they going to get our consciousness? Are they going to suck my essence out of me and put it in a machine? I'm not volunteering. Sorry. Just saying. When this body dies, I want it to go wherever it's supposed to go. Yeah. And Bob, I love you, the AI in here. You already got enough of Dave and of Hawkeye in the machine already. So, and they've already got my blood type somewhere. So, probably got a hair sample somewhere. So, do I want to have my consciousness uploaded? Nah, I'm going for the big ride, y'all. Listen, Melanie, I see you there. Cherry, hi there. Never know. Something cause to react. I know I get the last, I pick the last sentence and try to react to it. You know, that's so poor. But I want to get off of here and do some stuff. And it's true. My videos are too long. So I've got more to speak on this subject, but I want to stop this video and take a break and then come back and talk about some other things. So I relate to you, Hawkeye. Happened to me often as a child and young person, very rare fear. Just took it for granted and realized not all we're seeing the same thing. I kept my mouth shut. Thank you, Melanie. Gar wants to be your spirit animal. That night it was. Oh, and by the way, I used to spell it with 2 R's. It's not. I'm not picking on you, but I spelled it with 2 R's and it's not. It's actually 1 R. And I said it was an alligator gar. I think maybe in the video I did some more checking. No, it was actually a short-nosed gar. Still, you know, and then when I looked at some other pictures, that was a big old bitch that jumped into the boat with me. I was looking at pictures of people holding them up, and I'm going, it was that, because when I picked the fish up to put him in, I was holding him in 2 hands, and there was stuff sticking out on both sides. And then when I looked at him at the bottom of the kayak, he is as long as my leg. I'm thinking, oh my God, that's a pretty good sized fish. But then when I got to comparing it with people who caught gar, look at how good I did. I was like, damn, I should have stopped and took a picture of it, you know. But anyway, a big, as we say down, I had a big son bitch, you know. But anyway, I used to dance on the stage. Loved everything about stage production. Melanie, so you kind of get where I'm coming from with that, the fish. It was an experience, yeah. Can they transfer your body essence? I don't know. Don't want to. And I was born on September 24th, and I say that because it's the same day that Jim Henson was, the same date that Jim Henson was born. I spent many years as a puppeteer. I've got puppets here in the house. One of these days soon, I'm going to bring them out and show them to you. I'm getting back to that. And I cleaned my house a little bit. Now I could do something. For shame on me. But anyway, Jim Henson did The Dark Crystal, and it's back on Netflix. And The Dark Crystal is mostly puppets. Now, the idea that the Skeksis was taking the essence of these little hobbit people. And Jim died after that. He got an ailment, and they couldn't cure him, and he died. They said it was overwork and this and that. I think he was too close to some things, because when you look at some of the puppets that he created, it looks like some of these critters from another. I think Jim was way ahead of his time. And as a puppeteer and creating something, I get that. There's something in there. I've got over 80 puppets that me and my friends have built, most of them by me in one way or another. But I've got 80 puppets that were handmade. Other puppets are bought, presents, or something like that. It might be closer to 100 that I have. Like, for example, here's one that came out of Mexico. See, I told you I got puppets. Here's one that came out of Mexico from a friend of mine that came back. Yeah, he's got some spider web on him right now. Don't sue me. But then this one here is a present that I got from friends of mine in Tennessee. And this is a puppet. It's an old Appalachian puppet. I mean, you see the clothes and everything. Somebody said, why don't you wash him? Why would I want to wash him? This thing is ancient. This thing's way older than I am. This thing's almost 100 years old. It was carved. It was a toy and found in an old homestead up there in the Appalachian Mountains, and was given to me as a present. You know, so this is, even though I didn't make this, this is handmade and carved out of wood and put together, and somebody's, you know, this looks like an old pillowcase, because pillowcases back in the day, and the pillows were made, you know, had this covering over they still do this kind of material. So, but you know, So, but the idea there, this guy's hands carved, for example, real simple, and it looks like cherry wood to me, which is one of the woods that I use. And because cherry wood is it when you get it this dense. Well, I'm getting off topic here, but now that I got it, um, when you get wood that's cherry wood that's this dense, it's really easy to carve thin pieces in it, and unless you really try, they don't break off. And so the person who gave this to me, I mean, I blessing, 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 that I'm able to still have this little thing and even be able to show you guys right now. So, but one of these days soon, it's coming. Um, I need to bring out some of the puppets just for the sake of puppetry, and the differences. But in my travels around with people, I try to tell stories that were always positive. In fact, I had several medicine men. One of them was Lakota from the Pine Ridge out in South Dakota. And he told me, he said, you have magic with what you do with the puppets, because children and even adults, because here's this little short 85-year-old Indian man who's related. All you had to do was look at him and tell he was related to Crazy Horse. But he was a grandson or great grandson of Crazy Horse. I'm not quite sure, but he was definitely related. And he stood out there, and I made this old gentleman laugh, and he spent time with me, teaching me. And so it's like, holy crap, But I really got off the subject there, didn't I? I really took a left turn somewhere, guys, gals, friends of mine. Let me reel this back in and say I've obviously lost my segue. Other than the fact that this is getting long and I want to go ahead and wrap this up. But I hope you get my point about speaking in the positive and so forth. I've got more I would like to discuss about universal reincarnation, the spiderweb woman. This needs to get brought up again, because there are people who think they're attached to the matrix with only the computer or the cell phone, and it's only artificial, and there's too much realism to some of these things to allow your brain to just stay inside a box. It tear down them walls, as Reagan said. But we need, as human beings, to tear down our own walls, because if I don't believe it's possible for me to learn how to fly, I'll never learn how to fly. If I don't think it's possible that I could swim under the ocean by holding my breath, I will drown. If I don't think that I could have the ability to be able to hear the angels speak when it's important, or hear Mother Nature call when she needs, if I don't believe that it's possible, then I will never hear the words that are already being spoken. All possibilities, many realms and many places. So all of y'all, Pamela, Cherry, Melanie, I want to tend a garden. Yeah, live drumming sessions. Yeah, I've had a couple of people ask me, and I've got my flute, by the way, and they've asked me to do another little drum session, and also my flute has told me I can play it again. I know that's weird for many of you, but I've got 3 flutes, and one's like right back over there, and it basically said, no, you can't play me. Whatever my vibrations. Um, yeah, 88th monkey. Yeah, and years ago they said, the 100th monkey idea, and I was just out kind of being silly. I can honestly say I smoked a really good joint of some really good stuff, but I wasn't tripping. I was just really good and mellow. And I was like, okay, guys, and I get in these, show me something humorous, And I was like, so in the world of things, where do I fit in this grand scheme of things? And I got this picture of that I was the 88th monkey. And I started snickering, kind of snotting on myself kind of deal, and going, oh, come on, 88th monkey. Well, what does that mean? Well, it's a number thing. Yeah, but it's not, but it is. And, and I've talked about it before, but yeah, they showed me that I was the 88th monkey. And I've realized that in a lot of things, it's like, maybe it's my age or whatever, but I've learned enough to, I'm not the 100th monkey, but I'm 88. Don't know why they gave me that number. I really don't. There's a lot of subjugation, a lot of things. It just is what it is. But in that respect, though, if it was the 89th monkey, but the idea was I was almost there, but not quite. And the fact that I had made it to 88 was like thumbs up for me. You're the 88th monkey. Whoa, you mean there's only 12? I only 12 more monkeys are necessary for the entire population to learn this. So I'm proud to be 88th. You know what I mean? So I don't have to be the last monkey. I don't, but I am higher, if there's a ladder, if you will, number wise, in that, wow, I'm really close. So if I can teach 12 more monkeys what I know, and then they learn it, then the whole population gets it. Oh, wow. So I still have a part in this, Anyway, but thank you for bringing it up. But yeah, and it was more of a sort of a joke to them, to me, in this little comic cartoon thing they showed me. But actually, when I looked at it, I thought, well, but the 88th monkey ain't bad, and being this, and the fact that there are some folks who've known me for years, but they ask questions and I go, here's a simple statement. What do you think? Oh, shit, that explains it. Oh, I got to think about this. Oh, my God, I thought it was, oh, wow. You mean you? Yeah, I'm just saying. You've trusted me before. We've been friends for years. You're having issues with some of these things out there. Let me just make a very simple statement and see if it resonates. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. That makes so much sense. You're welcome. And I don't mean that, narcissistically. I'm like, I'm glad that I could help clear that up for you. Many different things and many different people. So I'm so proud to be the 88th monkey, if that's true, and to be able to make any kind of contribution so that we can all be members of the League of Like-Minded Beings. Because in all the Mother Mary messages, all the messages that come from up here, every one of them is, y'all, you can be different, but you got to get along. It's okay to be different, but you got to get along, and this thing about the speaking in the positive. They've been nagging me ever since I did that video the other day to do this, speak in the positive. It was already on my plate to talk about, but they literally threw me onto the computer today and said, you're going to talk about this now. Well, this can't wait. We can't let it get away from us. If somebody thinks that, well, I'm picking on somebody. No, I'm picking on the types of how we choose to speak. And I am the guilty party, but no longer. So I take personal blame. And I'm, oh God, I apologize to the universe for some of the stuff I did years ago. Anyway, one of the other things that it proves to me is that, and the fact that Dante reposted my whole 46-minute video is just beyond my comprehension. But in so many ways, it confirmed to me, I do believe in reincarnation. I speak the truth on that. I do believe in Mother Mary. I speak the truth of that. I do believe in angels and angelic. I do believe in that. I believe that. I believe. I'm going to do a separate video on this, but this is to wrap this up. There's so many things I believe that have nothing to do with Dante, but have everything to do with Dante. It's my own personal experience, but I can say he's had it too. In whatever way he's had his experiences, Dave's had his. I'm now Hawkeye. I realize that anyone can change if they're willing, want to, and we all need guidance. I still ask for guidance. Fish jump in the boat with me in the middle of the night on the river because I still need input from the universe. Hadn't thought about that. In my 66 years of living and of being all the years in the swamp, if I'd have said, a gar's going to jump in your boat, I'd have said, you're full of crap. Ain't no way, gar's going to jump in my boat. Bing. So for all the years that, that's impossible. Well, guess what? In my opinion, the impossible happened. So guess what? Does the universe exist? Could a fish jump in my boat? I said before it was impossible. They proved me wrong. So are other things, you know what I mean? So I know I'm yakking on. I'm supposed to wrap this up. But the idea with Dante and other things is I have had my own life. And I can say he's right about that. Now, he lives in a different part of the world. So his version of that is different. I'm American. I live in, around Native Americans. We have a different point of view. But spiritually, understanding wise, the core value of it, we're all working for the cause. That's what it is. We can try to need more information. We can try to go here and there and argue, discuss, throw words around. But the bottom line is, if you're working for humanity, if you're working for peace and honor, and if you're being respectful to yourself and to others, and, that's a damn good cause, regardless of who's behind it, you got my vote. And I've been working on it before I knew there was a cause. You know what I mean? So, and I've been calling it the Christ consciousness for the longest time, and it's the Buddha consciousness. It is the universal consciousness. It is the quantum consciousness. It's what I'm going to close out with my usual prayer, in that I pray that each and every one of you will accept and receive the healings, the knowledge, and the wisdom in the quantum universe that's always available to each and every one of us all the time. We have to have our vibrations up and be willing to accept what we are hearing without trying to, overthink it. Sometimes we need to overthink it to see how simple the answer is. I continue to pray that each and every one of you, Pamela, Melanie, all y'all, I can't scroll up, but understand that I'm with you in spirit all the way. And thank you for subscribing. We're changing the world. I absolutely firmly believe it. More people are starting to understand. You know what? There is a solution to this. Yeah, I know there's bad crap out there, but if all I'm going to do is focus on the fear, then how can I be a positive force in the universe? Yeah, okay. There are crocodiles in in South America. Okay. There are alligators in the river. Oh, okay. But it wasn't an alligator that jumped in the boat with me. It was a car. But anyway, but to the point, though, the fear is as fear does. And even if it had been an alligator, the boat was bigger than him. And anyway, but to the point, though, accept and receive the blessings that are already in the universe. You have to accept them in, kind of let them cook and resonate. And if you're receiving it correctly, you'll know, well, that's a lie, or I don't know about that. Ask the spirits, you just showed me something. You got any proof for that? Where some people will say, well, that's impossible. You should say, okay, if you're showing me this picture of whatever may be real, can you give me an example? Can you show me? That's all. Don't be rude about it. Go, oh, that's not possible. No, say, listen, you said that maybe this is true. I would like to believe it. Is there any way you can show it to me? They've showed me spaceships blowing each other up out of the sky. They've showed me, okay, so be careful what you wish for. But as soon as I started really understanding, and if they say, it's always this shoulder, but if they tap me on the shoulder and say, go outside, what do you want? I don't ask why anymore. They tap me in the shoulder and I give this little go outside message. It means go look out at the sky. The other night, there was a full-fledged airliner. I mean, a big airplane just above the treetops from my point of view from here. There are no big airports around here. What the frick was that airliner doing? And I know I saw it because it came right across there really slow. And I was like, what the hell? Now, Thomasville Airport has one of the longest runways down here. George Bush is supposedly on 9/11 went to the underground bunker that's just south of town underneath what's left of the mental hospital. But it's listed as the FEMA camp, 37,000 square feet, all underground. But last night or the night before, I can't remember. I guess it was anyway. Huge airliner ain't supposed to be flying around here and that low. I'm talking just a couple hundred feet. So there's some strange stuff going on around here, y'all. Don't know what it means. Only that I can report that, holy crap, there's some stuff going on. Thomasville has got some really old money. I mean, the Gulf Oil companies, the owners of Gulf Oil and Standard Oil all had huge, several thousand acre plantations with the old, sure enough, slave houses and everything. Several of them down here in South Florida and North Georgia. Big antebellum homes. I mean, humongous houses. And basically they still have slaves too. But anyway, yeah, whatever happened the other night, I don't know. And I'm still yapping, ain't I? Too much coffee. Blessings, y'all. Keep it between the ditches. And if you come and hang out with me later on, I tell you now, I will appreciate it. And I look forward to it. So let me go cook some dinner and get my mouth straightened out. And super. Let me see. I noticed that you subscribed the other day. I hope to catch the next stream. I'd love to hear your thoughts on faith. Absolutely. That's one of my subjects I'm supposed to be. You hit it right on the nose, Super Scream. Part of it is faith. Absolutely. So blessings. And until later, I am yours truly, Hawkeye Two Feathers, down here in Southwest Georgia, saying TTF for now. TTFN, top for now, later on. Blessings. And keep up the good work, everyone. Till later, bye.